This is take 2 of my previous musing regarding spiritual ego versus divine soul identification. I was watching a YouTube video yesterday of a person going through the twin flame journey, right? And the twin flame journey is a brutal initiation. And this person is 4 years into it. I'm 5.5 years into it. So I have a 1.5 years more experience with it. And in a 1.5 years, you can learn a lot. This person isn't at that state yet. And don't take this as a judgment. Of course, if you're an ego, you're going to take it as a judgment. But it's an observation that I feel I should mention, should point out as a principle. Not that the person is doing anything wrong. But I see this a lot, where people mistake their soul, thinking they are in their soul when they are actually in a more enlightened version of their ego or their spiritual ego. How am I detecting this? The marker, the tracer that gives it away is that the spiritual ego has all the same expectations and demands that the regular wounded ego has. Number one, the expectation and demand for apologies, right? The spiritual ego has maybe even stricter boundaries than the normal ego, right? The spiritual ego has higher standards, okay? Higher expectations. So, the demand for respect, the demand for apologies is going to be so much more pronounced. But this is not the pathway of peace. It's also not the pathway of the soul. The soul, when we live from the soul, and I don't think I can convey this, but I'm going to say it anyways just to make the distinction. Very, very few people actually live from their soul. Most people out there are living from this new overlay. I called it a plastic overlay for the projector in my previous musing, 1592. They are just looking through the new lens of the new plastic overlay that is their spiritual ego. But they have all the same requirements. And that is so not a free way of being, a free way of living. You are just imposing more chains on yourself that you're binding yourself to in living with these expectations of the people around you. To come back to this person I was mentioning earlier, they said that they live with this expectation that one day all the people that have hurt this person, I'm saying this in order not to give away the gender, all the people that have ever hurt this person would come back and apologize. That's an expectation this person lives with. And I thought, oh, what a chain What a chain this is around the ankles. To live with that. And that's when I recognized, we have a spiritual ego here that needs to do. No, actually, the ego doesn't need to do more healing. It's just that this person will have to become aware at one point that, wait a minute, I'm not my ego. I'm not this spiritual ego. This is just an overlay, a mask. What is my real soul saying and living? But you have to heal and integrate enough to have the sensitivity to your soul to realize this. The soul is the higher self that's not tied, bound by duality. And by duality, I use that term now in the use of discerning black and white, good and evil, love and hate, the polarities. And the soul does not live there at all. For the soul, there exists no good and evil. I'm not saying good and evil don't exist. They very much exist in experiencing that through ego. Through the world of ego, that exists. But through the world of soul, that doesn't exist. Like, I am so free. I don't sit here waiting for all the people who have hurt me, including my twin flame, to come back one day and apologize. And even if they come back, I don't expect them to apologize. And particularly my twin. Because, and this is the mistake a lot of people still make, they think of their twin in the sense of polarity, that it is another person. But your twin is an extension of your subconscious mind. So, how can you expect an apology from your twin for hurting you? Oh, I can't explain this consciousness. Your twin has just played out the shadows within yourself. So, would you have to apologize to yourself then? Right? Are you blaming your subconscious self for the hurts that your conscious self is feeling, has felt in your ego? I can't explain this, but it's very clear in my awareness. I don't expect an apology from the twin, just as I don't expect an apology from myself. I expect, if I can call it that way, I anticipate maturation. I anticipate elevation of consciousness, the transcendence of identifying with the hurt persona. Because that's really what it is. We identify with the hurt identity of ego. Ego was hurt. Ego was hurt in its pride. Ego was embarrassed. Ego felt these shadow wounds, right? Because it is ego. If you are in soul, you don't experience the world in this way at all. You truly have transcended the world of hurt and apologies. Now, people will feel the need to apologize because they feel that they have done wrong to someone. And they have. But it's not so much a matter of apology as it is the elevation of consciousness, the ascension of ascending the ego identification and ego consciousness. Because you can loop in this cycle of hurting and apologizing and hurting and apologizing. It'll trap you in that loop. And you could never rise above it. And there's always going to be plenty of people that will facilitate misunderstanding, hurt, offense. That's the world of ego. That's the world of ego. You can't ever escape that until you escape the identification with that ego and you realize that's not truly who I am. That's not my true self. My true self is a higher awareness that, again, this is where I have trouble articulating it. It is another consciousness that you cannot grasp in your ego identification consciousness. It transcends the world of duality, right? So I don't hold expectations of you coming to apologize because I want to live free. I want to live free from my ego having all these demands. I'm not spending my time waiting for apologies, waiting for you to respect me. I have learned since I transcended into my soul that I am responsible for respecting myself. I am responsible for honoring myself. I am responsible for loving myself. And that is the most freeing way of being. You have to be born again. And that means come into soul recognition and soul identification. And all those people that have hurt me, I truly forgive you. I release you because I know you didn't mean it, but it was an unconscious response from the malcontent you feel within your own inner world. And you are simply expressing from your own pain, the unconscious pain, the misunderstanding, the confusion. If you had clarity, if you had the clarity of your soul, you would not live so unconsciously and unaware that you could literally prevent hurt, right? But like I say, it's another world. It's another world. And that's what you have to be born again into. Sorry if this didn't make sense. It's really hard to articulate. But there is a different way of being, a different way of living than living hijacked by your spiritual ego and deceiving you into so-called freedom. But you're not free. Your ego will never let you live free. Free from hurt, free from offense. Only in your soul can you live free from offenses, right? One day you will get your epiphany and live as your soul.